Extracurriculars, hobbies, volunteering, which one will make your MBA application stronger? There is a common mistake MBA candidates make way too often, and that mistake can have significant consequences. At the start of the MBA application process, you often look at the class profile of your target school, and there prominently featured is the work experience. Maybe it's an average of 5 years or mid 80% range of 3 to 8 years for most 2-year full-time MBA programs. The mistakes candidates frequently make is to simply confirm they fit within the range and then merely move on with the rest of the MBA application. But why is this a mistake? Work experience is far more than merely the number of years you've worked in a post-undergraduate job. There is a big difference between 2 years in a high responsibility position under challenging circumstances versus 6 years of doing pretty much the same thing. More importantly, one thing the work experience range doesn't actually capture is not related to work at all. It's what you do outside of what you're paid for. What you do with your personal time can make all the difference when it comes to differentiating yourself in the MBA admissions race. Early in your application process, ideally, as you create your brand new MBA-specific resume, a deep analysis of your professional experience is invaluable. Part of the analysis should answer the question, what is missing from my work stories? Which brings us to the topic of extracurricular activities. But what does extracurricular activities even mean when it comes to your MBA application? Collectively, the term refers to everything you got involved in outside of class as an undergraduate, outside of your job responsibilities as a professional, and in your life outside of school and work in general. What qualifies as an extracurricular activity? From sports to hobbies to being part of a community or initiative that is important to you, everything is fair game, but that doesn't mean that you should not put a lot of thought into parsing out what to include, where, and how. You may have heard me talk about how your MBA application is an exercise in strategic communications. Well, this very much applies to how you think of your extracurricular activities. Extracurricular activities may end up being the perfect place to showcase your leadership and impact. I call it being part of something bigger than yourself. What might that be in your life? I have a fun bit of homework for you. After you watch this video, grab a pen and paper or just open your favorite notes-taking app, block just 20 minutes on your calendar and think about this question and take notes. Again, the question is, how have I been part of something bigger than myself? Now, as you get ready to think about what and how to include in your MBA application, here are 7 important rules about extracurricular activities that you should follow in your MBA application. Rule number 1, don't just state, demonstrate. Concrete examples are more convincing than claiming leadership qualities. In your MBA application, the weakest thing you could possibly do is to simply say that you possess leadership qualities. Instead, you need evidence, little vignettes that tell a story of leadership on your behalf. Here, extracurricular activities can come in handy. Whether it's leading a student entrepreneurship club, volunteering for a nonprofit and tutoring young minds in math, or even launching your own venture, even if it failed, these activities can demonstrate your ability to motivate, inspire, and help others. So it's time to dedicate some effort to our old friend self-reflection and find and choose the most important examples that show the admissions committee how you've put your commitment to something important into action. Rule number 2, quality over quantity. It's not about having an endless list of extracurricular activities on your MBA resume. It's about the impact and depth of your involvement. It's also about your motivation for getting involved. MBA admissions committees are looking for candidates who have made a meaningful contribution to their community or organization. They want to know how you made a difference. Harvard Business School, for example, calls it engaged community citizenship. They look for candidates, in their own words, who are eager to share their experiences, support their colleagues, and teach as well as learn from their peers. So instead of listing every activity you've ever participated in, focus on the ones where you've left a place, project, or a group of people better and stronger than you found them. Rule number 3, connect the dots to your career goals, that is. Extracurricular activities can strengthen your case for achieving your career objectives. And that's something that schools expect you to do. Demonstrate to them that you are in a strong position to accomplish your career goals when you graduate. So you should showcase how your extracurricular involvements have provided valuable experience and developed skills relevant to your future goals. Involvement in a startup or participation in a business plan competition, for example, can help make a case that you have what it takes to pivot to a new industry. Leading a small task force at work can highlight the development of your leadership skills even without formal management experience in your title. Rule number 4, show diversity in your interests. While it's important to demonstrate a clear focus in your extracurricular activities, it's also great to show that you have many different facets. This could include participating in a cultural club or joining a debate team or learning a new language. Highlighting hobbies and personal interests can also provide valuable insights to admissions committees, offering a glimpse into your personality and character. As a former dean of MBA admissions and now an MBA admissions expert, one of my favorite lines in an MBA resume is what I call the fun line, where you list your hobbies and interests. In my life as dean of admissions, if you listed travel or reading, you could bet I would have started your MBA admissions interview there. Maybe even spend more time on those than your actual work experience. Rule number 5, highlight your leadership contributions. MBA adcoms are looking for candidates who have the potential to be future leaders in their industry and society. Your extracurricular activities can demonstrate your leadership potential by highlighting the roles you've held in your community or organization. Whether it's leading a team in a sports league or organizing a fundraising event for a cause you consider important, your extracurriculars can be a perfect way to augment an MBA resume that might not have manager in any of your titles. Rule number 6, connect it to your academic record. Your extracurricular activities might just be what mitigates some weakness in your academic record. For example, if you had a lower GPA in your undergraduate studies, your involvement in a business club or competition can demonstrate your interest and aptitude for business. But don't forget that a low GPA needs a much more serious look that involves both explanation and mitigation. If you need help with that, you can find the ultimate guide to the GPA in the MBA admissions process on mymbapath.com. Rule number 7, be genuine. Stay humble and authentic. I can't say this enough. Don't choose extracurricular activities solely because you think that they might impress the MBA admissions committee. Instead, choose activities that are genuinely interesting to you and that you have a true passion about. These will come across in your application and demonstrate your authenticity and your commitment. And in general, trying to impress the MBA adcom is usually an exercise in futility. We have seen it all and can spot insincerity from a mile away. Instead of trying to impress, you should try to excite. Make your MBA application so interesting and inspiring that the MBA adcom can't wait to meet you in your MBA admissions interview. Finally, I have a bonus tip for you. Your extracurricular involvement may also end up being the reflection of your dedication to diversity, equity, and inclusion. The efforts to recognize and combat bias, exclusion, and discrimination are not new, not in our society and not in the business school classroom. But more than ever, there is a demand on all of us as individuals, professionals, and leaders to make a greater commitment to it. So diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, as they're called for short, these conversations have become a central topic and a lens through which MBA candidates are being evaluated in the MBA application process. Your extracurricular involvement may help demonstrate your leadership potential and commitment and back that claim with proof and evidence. So where do you go from here? Just like with the rest of your MBA application, dedicate some time to first examine your extracurricular involvement and then follow the framework I outlined for you in this video to select the most important pieces and present them with passion and conviction throughout your MBA application.